transforming worlds to a better wonder to behold. No poverty, zero hunger for the elderly or younger. Good health and well-being, good education, empowering women to become sensation. Clean water, sanitation is a right of every nation. Economic growth inclusive and sustained through industry, innovation, and purely dedication. Yeah, infrastructure be gain. Reduce inequality for sure. Make human settlements secure. Take urgent actions to combat climate change. Conserve life below water and land. Ensure we do not estrange. Justice for all the peaceful and empathetic nations. Let us all partner to achieve these goals and provide much needed salvation. Each one teach 10.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Good morning, good evening, namaste, hola, bonjour, kerimate, terve, and maraban. This is Namya Joshi, your host for the day. Welcome to episode 107 of the podcast, Each One Teach 10, an amazing world of STEM. An inspiring venture where we'll be discussing that STEM is part of every day for every kid. We all will learn together how to build a STEM culture. Today, I have the absolute pleasure of speaking with someone whose work has not only transformed how we see education and technology, but also has empowered millions of learners across the globe. Join me today Joining me today is Miss Laylah Bulman, an incredible change maker who currently leads transformative programs at Microsoft's Minecraft Education, with a career that spans from founding esport leagues to driving innovation at Lego Education. Her journey is truly inspiring, and I'm so excited to dive into it right with her. So, how are you doing today, Miss Laylah?
I'm doing great, and I'm equally excited to be talking to you and meeting you here on this podcast. And thank you for inviting me. I'm a huge fan of yours, like you know, and you're transforming lives of millions as well. So it's great to be part of your team.
Thank you so much. So, how's the weather like in Miami today?
Oh my gosh, so great! After we get off this presentation and call, I'm going to go to the beach. I'm on vacation. I'm on vacation this weekend.
Sounds great. I mean, I miss the beach. Maybe someday I can go there, probably in June.
You
holidays.
You come to Miami. I will. I'll show you around.
You have a deal, of course. Right. So, thank you so much for being here today once again. And I'd love to begin with your journey. You've worked at the intersection of education and technology for years. So let's go back to the start. Like, what inspired your transition from teaching in the classroom to leading impactful initiatives like Minecraft Education at Microsoft?
It's been a long journey. I think careers are very zigzag. You know, this concept, at least I thought when I was young, that your career went from one point to another, and I had imagined mine like that, like a rocket in one direction. And life has been, like a zigzag, even like school can be in a certain day. I wish I'd known that earlier to prepare that, but it does, it's many things. To answer your question, many things have gotten me to where I am today. Experiences and people, and it all begins, I think, with your family. So I was raised in a family with very, like strong women. My mother is a journalist. My grandmother was an educator. My other grandmother was an artist. So a lot of women that were had visions of what they wanted to do and were very accomplished in their spaces. And I would also say very project oriented. You begin something and you're going to finish it. And my career has really changed. I did not intend to be in education and in technology. I worked for the State Department, which is the Foreign Service, for a little while. But when I had children, I changed my career. I had, and one of my son is actually on the autism spectrum. And so I knew then that I really wanted to be very much closer to his educational experience. And so I did. I changed my entire career around. I became a teacher. And then I realized very quickly that in the classroom, many students, whether they were neurodivergent or neurotypical, needed needed a different kind of pedagogy, a different way for them to be able to engage. I also realized that facing 30 very bored students is very hard as a teacher. So you need to have immersive and engaging experiences. So I really jumped in right away with using games. I'm a gamer. I love to game. When I was young, if you gave me, at the time it was 25 cents to go to the local arcade, I could make that 25 cents last hours because I loved it. And so, or my Atari, console. And I remember hearing at the same time, I think something that parents say to kids now, which is, you're always playing, you've got to do schoolwork. And I say, yeah, I'll do that. I'll do well, but don't worry. This is relaxing and fun and engaging for me. So as a teacher, I use games. And when the opportunity arose, so I guess every summer as a teacher and as an administrator, I would do a job outside of work. Many teachers have more than one job because it's not a high paying job. And for me, I taught economics and I taught finance. And so I wanted to always have a job that taught me a new skill, which I think is important for people to hear, is that you have to constantly be learning new skills, especially in today's economy. But I knew, I felt this a long time ago, but it was meant for my students. I wanted to get skills that made me relevant in the classroom, especially if I was teaching secondary students and I was teaching them economics. And how could I talk about entrepreneurship and jobs if I wasn't like that myself, right? You need to speak with authenticity. And so I would always do jobs during the summer. And one of them turned into an opportunity to work with Microsoft and HP and Intel on a project where they just wanted me to document a project that they were doing, and that turned into an offer. And so I decided to change careers. I joined that program and I built their STEM. So I know that you're focused on STEM education. I built a STEM business. And then Lego called me. And then I went to Lego. And then from Lego, I did a lot of esports. As you mentioned, I started doing esports because I love Lego and I love Lego robotics, but I also noticed that many, many, many students, mostly siblings of kids that were doing robotics competitions, weren't playing. And I thought, well, how can I get all of these families involved? Because they're kind of just sitting around waiting. And like my son used to do robotics, but my daughter would just sit around and wait, and I'd have to come up with things to entertain her. And so I noticed that esports was just beginning to start. And if there's a way to connect STEM with esports, which we were able to do, I built that out. And I built out a statewide league, which became a national league. And we included Minecraft in there. And so when Minecraft saw me doing Minecraft esports, at time at Stephen Reed, and I ended up joining Minecraft from that. So like a really crazy journey. I didn't, if you had told me 5 years ago, Laylah, you're going to be working at Minecraft, I would have said, I don't know what you're talking about. I used to make Minecraft cakes for my Minecraft parties for my students. And I would have Minecraft, I like to be crafty. So I would make Minecraft decorations and I would put them in my classroom, but I never thought that I'd be producing games. So that just tells you that, number one, it's hard to predict, but the journey can be really fun. And mine has been, at least.
I mean, that sounds really good. You've had a very inspiring journey, to be honest. I truly admire how your career has evolved almost like a rocket, moving from one pivotal point to another, guided by rich experiences and strong influences, both from family and professional life. You've been surrounded by powerful role models like educators, journalists, and women with a clear vision, which clearly shaped your own. And I believe that your transition into education was, deeply personal, driven by your, own experience as a mother, raising a child who has autism, and becoming a teacher yourself. You've embraced different pedagogies to reach every learner, creating immersive game-based environments that I believe, make learning not only effective, but truly joyful. And I really appreciate your passion for integrating fun with learning. that really shines through. And what strikes a lot is like teaching subjects like economics and finance with this approach opened new doors for you, because I totally believe your point that you mentioned, it's important for us to develop new skills in this modern world. And it's great, like what started as summer job eventually led you to work with Microsoft, to Lego, to rising the world of esports, and finally into Minecraft education. And of course, it's about ability to merge education, innovation, and heart that is incredibly powerful, to be honest.
Oh, I appreciate that. Again, it is you know what, the word I think you said, and I see it reflected in your work as well. So maybe it is passion, and to connect your passion, right? And this is students as well. When you can connect your passion to something that is valued by society, right? That's a really powerful connection. And it has to be, I think there's a term, it's called ikigai, right? And when it's connecting what's, again, your particular passion, what matters to society, what matters to you, it's this beautiful spot, right, where you can really impact others. I mean, I'm sure I look at you, Nadia, and I feel like I don't want to speak for you, but it seems like you're doing the same thing.
Thank you so much. And you said ikigai. I think that's what inspired me a lot. And whenever you think like maybe you want to give up, you always have a reason to why you started, and what's a reason to wake up every day from bed, to work for yourself and give out to the society who has given a lot to you, of course. And I must mention, you talked about making Minecraft cakes and all. So like the first competition that I took part in for Minecraft was the national level Minecraft for EDU Days 2019. I remember making those swords and those headgears to attract people to come to our stall. And of course, I think I did try to bake Minecraft cake once during the lockdown. It turned out to be horrible. I mean, like, it was a good try, but yeah, I think if I maybe make it one day, I'll be happy. But my mom gifted me a Minecraft base cake on my 16th birthday, so that was a treat.
That's amazing. Yes. Yeah, exactly. It has to be fun for your brain and really tasty.
Absolutely. I cannot agree more with you. Right. So, I mean, that's a powerful transition. Like now, speaking of your work at Minecraft education, impacting over 300 million learners is just phenomenal. And I'm very curious, like when you think of a learner first mindset, what does that really mean in the context of designing these global learning experiences?
It has to be entirely focused on putting the student and their passion at the center of the experience. So, what we're looking at, well, I always think of one of the most popular maps, actually, build challenges, is called Build a Better Bedroom. And many, millions of students have played that particular build challenge. And I think about why. And I think when you're young, it changes, but especially when you're young, you have very little agency over your life, right? You're told what you're going to have for breakfast, where you're going to go to school, what you have to study. There's very limited agency. And often, even in your bedroom, right? Well, these are the sheets you're going to have, and this is the color of the walls, and things like that. And as students become more independent, oftentimes that space, that bedroom, becomes where they can have a little bit of agency what they're going to do. So, Build a Better Bedroom is, as a young learner, what will my room look like? My personal space. And so, learner-centered means giving agency to the student, to the learner, to the player in the game entirely. This is not about educators are there to support that journey, but what we really want the student is to choose their own adventure, for lack of a better term. But that's the best adventure, when you choose your own. Similar to your question around your, a career journey, I chose that adventure. Those decisions were mine. Certainly, they were impacted by factors that were around me, right? Where I went to school and where I grew up, and one doesn't choose one's parents, right? But you do choose moving forward from the options that you're having. And that, it kind of reminds me of, you asked me like what influences me, right? One of the things I used to always tell my students, I taught for 16 years, which was, education provides you freedom, I choose what I want to study. I have it's an absolute luxury to be able to do different types of careers and tasks and jobs. But I've afforded that by investing in my own education and looking at the trends and seeing what is valued by society and seeing if that can, connect with my own personal purpose. And I used to repeat that almost every single day. And that actually does come from my own family. This is the freedom that you have. And like many, many families, mine was impacted by war and revolution and things like that. And what allowed them perhaps opportunities to escape and move forward was education, the skills that they had. So I always tell that to my students. And so when you think about the question that you have, which is student-centered learning, it's when you empower somebody so that they can choose, and particularly in the game, the skills that they pick up and the adventure that they take, hopefully the intent is to transfer those into your real life, right? So when you're learning that you can solve a problem, when you're not afraid of a challenge, when you get so absolutely satisfied by solving that puzzle, right, in the game, that helps you outside of the game. And I think that for adults that question game-based learning, that maybe have forgotten, because most people have had experiences with some kind of game, whether it's Tetris, or maybe it's just a card game, solitaire, or an actual, video game like Minecraft. The fun is in the challenge. You expect the challenge. If it's not challenging, that's not fun. You want to fail and try over and over and over till you get it. And when you get it, and it was hard and you got it, you feel so satisfied. It's so amazing. That's what we want you to do in school. That's what we want you to do in life, because you'll experience that throughout your life, challenges that can seem very daunting. And when you have practice, and I think the real word is practice, when you have practice dealing with problems that you can, and then you've had the feeling of conquering a challenge, that's very empowering in real life. So that's what it means to have a learner-centered experience. But the goal of the learner-centered experience is to have agency in your own life to move forward and to thrive, right? It's not just about the game, it's about life.
I cannot agree more. Like that really, I think, strikes a chord. And your perspective, I really resonated with it, because I love how you define a learner-first mindset as putting student passion right at the center of the experience. Because like the way Minecraft gives you the design challenges, like letting students build their own bedroom, is a powerful metaphor for giving them their own agency. As you described, when learners are young, they don't, have the power to do what they want to do, but as they grow, they crave more freedom to make their own choices. So what you're doing is not just learner centered, it's life centered, giving students the spaces to choose their own adventures, much like you choosing your own career as well. It's about empowering them with the freedom to move forward, to explore what matters to them, and to understand what the society values as well. So ultimately, it's about helping them feel confident enough to carve their own path, both in Minecraft and then apply that to the real world. And that's such a beautiful and impactful way to look at education. And reminds me of one of the challenges, which was build your own dream school. And it's like during the lockdown, I took part in it. So like I did dream of, classrooms that include artificial intelligence, XR, and because I had visited Finland a year ago, because I was really fascinated by the different technologies they were using. So I did include them, and I'm really happy. Like some of the classrooms in India have started including them now, because I've been seeing like across the world there are quite a few. But I'm happy to see that in my own country as well. And globally, it's a need of the hour to equip students with those skills, which are absolutely necessary in today's world, where they can also choose their path by learning different facilities in their school. And of course, imagine how you want your school to look like maybe people would want classes in the garden where they can live in the nature and express themselves fully, like sitting on the sunlight. That's something that I think every child would love to. And again, it's giving them agency, that you choose what you want to do, and that helps you to critically think and collaborate effectively with your team members, and totally pour out your emotions and thoughts through a game. and that helps you ahead in your life as well.
Yeah, I think you said it. It's the imagination and the curiosity to be able to build something new, like you did with that. That was a good challenge, right? Imagine to build the school, your dream school. I remember that. I remember that one. And what in the world today, right? We're always looking for new ideas and how these new ideas and with technologies can change lives for everyone. And so where does it begin? If you have a tool like Minecraft where you can imagine a school and classrooms filled with artificial intelligence, and you're lucky. I mean, you've been able to travel, right? You've been able to see different types of schools and different types of educational environments, and they're going to continue to evolve. And so to be able to have a digital space where you can imagine, the garden in the classroom or the classroom in the garden, right? The other way around, or whatever. That's I think the power of Minecraft. I know what attracted me originally to this particular role, because I was looking it up when I was being interviewed. And I remember reading this article about, it was a long time ago it was written, but it was an article from someone who said, I can imagine the manufacturing of the future where workers will be building in a digital space, and you'll have, I remember it was one in India, and I'll have one in Brazil. And through technology, they'll be able to communicate together. They'll be auto-translated, and they'll be working on, perhaps it's a motor or some kind of robotic machine, and they'll be in different spaces. But where do you build those skills? Minecraft can be that space where you can have, and I remember thinking to myself, oh, I want to be a part of that. That's cool, right? If I can help students build those, you know what I mean? And so it made me think of, I had never thought of that before. And it made me think, okay, we can start opening, building curiosity and imagination. That's where I want to be. That's my purpose. So, just like you're saying, you went to Finland and it impacted your dream school. I can even, I think about that all the time, right? Like, what are schools in the future going to look like? I'm excited to see what today's youth invents. I know that won't be me. I want to see it. I can't wait.
And I can't wait to work along with, amazing youths and youngsters who also have similar visions. And of course, like-minded individuals, when they work together, can do wonders.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's how I think, with that mindset, Minecraft has become more than just a game. It's the space to explore the future skills like AI. And AI literacy is everywhere right now. So how do you see platforms like Minecraft helping students understand and engage with AI in a way that's both safe and creatively empowering?
Well, we've been working on AI literacy for a couple of years now. And our work with AI actually preceded me. So when I joined, Minecraft Education already had an hour of code around AI for good, and had a collection, which is still there, and it's a great game, and a collection called AI for Earth, which I would encourage everyone to go and experience and play. It's 5 different maps, and it teaches you about machine learning and semi-autonomous machine learning and how that works. So that's to say that the path to where we are in Minecraft Education and our AI literacy collection and solution is grounded in pre-generative AI, right? So you have AI and machine learning, and then you have generative AI. And I think AI literacy really is about what exploded about a year and a half ago, right? With ChatGPT and access to different kinds of tools and skills that are impacting every aspect of life. And just like it, and my thinking about it is like, what is our AI journey? So I'll tell you how I think we've gotten there and what we have. So what we've created is a collection of maps called AI Foundations, and it's really easy to go access. If you go into your browser and put aka.ms/Minecraft AI, or you just search Minecraft AI Foundations, you'll see our full collection, right? And it's taken time to build. And what we have focused on are some critical pillars of knowledge around AI literacy. We want students to understand, number one, what is generative AI? Two, be able to identify where generative AI is around them. And then three, how they can use it in a safe way and in a responsible way, so safe and responsible, to be able to invent something new, right? Be able to create something that they perhaps couldn't have created on their own. So those three pillars inform the learning objectives that have built out this collection. And so you'll see things that we've made like Hour of Code Generation AI, or Fantastic Fairgrounds, which we made as well. We've made AI for Cultural Heritage with Peter is Here. And we've made Cyber Safe AI, which is about how to be safer, more responsible, and practice digital citizenship with generative AI. And we've also made coding with AI, right? So we have a unit just on learn how to code with AI. And we did something different as well with our AI foundations, because we know how AI literacy, and Nami, you're involved with STEM. When STEM as a concept first started, it was really hard for people to understand what that is. Because when I think of STEM, I think, well, it's the stem of a flower or the stem of an idea. It does not mean science, technology, education, math, or STEAM with the arts. So STEM was, I don't know who came up with that idea. I mean, we've done enough marketing now that everybody understands it. But at the very beginning, it was very confusing. And so we had to do a lot of stakeholder education, a lot of parent education, a lot of industry, education about what STEM is, and mostly teacher education. How do you involve STEM as a concept, an interdisciplinary concept, and project-based concept in the classroom? It's very complex and it's very demanding, and it requires teachers to change how they teach and what they teach, right? And how they integrate STEM into all learning, because we know how critical it is. And AI literacy is going to be very similar. It already is becoming like that in terms of STEM. How do you incorporate this new framework into all types of learning and teaching? So, and when we started making our AI foundations, we recognized that parent and teacher capacity building was as important as the maps themselves, right? Because parents need to learn to support kids on their journey. We know from research that when parents and families support a student in their STEM journey, they are far more likely to stay in that journey, to take advanced classes, potentially major in the STEM college degree pathway if you're not supported. So we know we want students to feel that support. We want them to take advanced classes. We want them to take advanced courses in technology. We want them to take a STEM major or career and a degree. So informing parents is part of that, and building teacher capacity, teacher training as part of AI Foundations is also part of this full solution, right? And so we did something really different. We made an animated video series called AI Adventurers, which are so fun. It's been some of the most fun work that I've done, and it's really unusual because our job, at least my job, is to make experiences in the game. We want students and teachers to use the game for teaching, for, in this case, AI and AI literacy, but we needed a kind of a step, because AI literacy is a ramp, right? It's a ramp. It's not a series of steps. You gotta go on this ramp where you're comfortable so that you can build your own skills. And for many, jumping into Minecraft and learning about AI is not a ramp. That's a huge jump. And so AI Adventures was this, a series of really short videos, animated. Check it out. It's on that AI Foundations link. Again, Minecraft, it's aka.ms/Minecraft AI. And you'll see the links there for the 3, and there's more coming, AI Adventures animated videos. They're about 2.5, 3 minutes long, featuring Agent and Chicken. So got a little agent guy there with Chicken, and they're understanding what AI is, where it's around them, how to be safe with it. But those videos, which any parent can play on YouTube, and we all tested it with our with our families, our grandmothers, our parents, and they said, oh, everyone should see these. So we knew that they worked. But they're supported with lesson plans. They're supported with a parent discussion guide, so a parent can watch with their young learner at home, the car on the way to school, etc., and ask and learn about and learn together, ask questions together. I think each video, whether you realize it or not, has like 30 vocabulary terms like prediction and model and things like that. Just in that, wonderful conversations. And so we are helping students understand, we're helping parents understand, and we're helping teachers and educators understand what it is, how to integrate it into their learning, and how to understand. You have to constantly be learning about AI in order to use it in a way that is safe and responsible. Because like computing, it's going to become ubiquitous. It's going to become everywhere. And if you don't, I'll answer the question. I've answered it in a long way, but I'll answer it in a short way. It's an issue of equity. If students, parents, and teachers do not have AI literacy skills, we are keeping you out of the economy. We're keeping you out of thriving. And so we have to. We must do this, right? And so it's the why and the how of what we've done. And similar to, if you don't know how to use a computer, if you don't understand how they work, if you don't know how to use them safely, well, you're pretty much cut out of a lot of living. Almost everything now is done through, perhaps through your mobile or through the internet. And if you're not utilizing that and you don't understand how it works, your agency, which is how we started this conversation, is extremely limited. And AI literacy is an inclusion and equity issue. We want you to understand how it works so that you have agency with it, as opposed to just sitting passively and accepting whatever is happening around you.
I totally agree. Like, if you say 10 years back, it may have been an optional skill, but today it's like the basic life skill that you absolutely need. And it's clear that Minecraft has grown into a platform that goes far beyond the gameplay. It's like a powerful space where students can safely and creatively engage with the future-focused skills like AI. And you found amazing, initiatives like Minecraft Out of Code and AI for Earth. And honestly, I'll tell you, like, whenever I felt like I am getting bored or I want to try something new, I'll always go to the library and I'll solve all the out of codes. Even if it has to be doing them again, I'll do it because I've really enjoyed coding with Minecraft. And like, when I didn't know about it, I was like, oh my God, I'd been building block by block. But coding with Minecraft makes it so much easier. And I mean, it's a skill that people need to learn. But of course, if you're learning coding enough in a game, that too, if it's Minecraft, that's the icing on the cake for you. And it's become like a groundwork for everybody to learn AI. And it's about the curated collection of maps on AI foundations, which can be found. And I'll put that link in the description for everybody to check out, exploring what AI is, where it exists, and how to use it responsibly, which provides learners with both clarity and the context. And I especially appreciate how you're embedding digital citizenship, culture, and critical thinking into the experience, how we have to be alert, safe online, be able to, create those safe spaces, be balanced, at the same time know how to help other people out as well, that you're informed of the information available online, and you know how to act safely as well. So it's not just about the exposure, it's about safe, informed, and empowered engagement. And with tools like the animated AI adventure series, I absolutely love them, the chicken and the agent. So it's like the strong focus on teacher training and, of course, parent involvement, when Minecraft is helping to build a more AI literate world. As you put it so well, AI literacy is rampant. Minecraft, it becomes a huge, exciting leap forward.
Really, it does. And aren't the agent and chicken so cute? I love them.
Absolutely, they are. I mean, like, my first favorite thing in Minecraft was the chicken. So I do have both the plushies with me. So I feel happy whenever I see them.
Yeah.
Really cute. And of course, if you don't have them, you're missing out on something.
You
So
are
need to
missing
get it.
out. Yeah, or if you don't have one, build your own, right? Build your own chicken and agent. It's
Absolutely.
yeah, it's so funny when we're making that animated series, and actually we did it for this last hour of code too, because we made the AI Adventures video series prior to making this year's hour of code, which was The Show Must Go On. And we were so influenced by how we had created this really cute relationship between chicken and agent that people loved. And if you watch the AI Adventure series, you'll see that the animators did such an incredible job with small movements, right, to develop their characters. So, for example, in the third one about being safer and more responsible with AI, Agent tries to do a really fun basketball trick, right? And I didn't do the prompt right, and it's so funny because Chicken, when the narrator says, "Did you just ask it to make a shot?" It's like a kind of like a weak prompt. You see the chicken kind of walking back like, I'm not with this person. It's so cute. And we have this really cute relationship. And so for Hour of Code, The Show Must Go On, we actually, at the very, very beginning, have Agent and Chicken there. And then in the trailer, Agent and Chicken are together. So it's become, before the agent was kind of alone. Now the agent's got a buddy.
Absolutely true.
Right? Chicken.
Yeah.
Cute.
And like we're talking about the out of code generation AI, I absolutely, enjoyed playing it. And of course, like I was really grateful to be part of the launch as well. So it was like amazing seeing how AI, is made sure that it's helpful, safe, and fair for everybody. And like one of my favorite examples out of that was a child who is, wanting to get some food during the first principle, but then it's not possible because he is not able to get up. So you have to lower down the sensor to get the food. And I think that's how you're able to, generate more empathy, as well as know how to use your critical thinking and problem solving skills. So I think it's great that you're able to enhance personal life skills as well as critical thinking skills and problem solving with coding at the same time. So that's hats off.
Thank you. To be honest with you, making the AI maps is very challenging, right? It's way more challenging than other maps. Because number one, there are a lot of rules around how we talk about AI, and also because it's evolving so quickly. So we ensure when we're making map, and it's any. First of all, this is basic for any map that we make. We always have subject matter experts that work with us to be able to ensure that we are, number one, that we're correct, that we're relaying the information correctly, that we are speaking about it in a way that is for ourselves responsible and safe. So, but as a topic, it's also really hard in Minecraft because it's hard to we don't put AI in the game. We made a decision to not put it in the game because we have students from all different kinds of ages, and we wouldn't know what would come out. We have made a product though for teachers called Lesson Crafter. It's also on that AI Foundations page, which you put the link on. And that is for educators to work with a tool, an AI tool, to be able to build more lessons that they can integrate Minecraft into their classroom. Because like you said, we have a lot of great maps inside of the in-game library, and we have in our website even more access to more maps. But teachers may want to create their own. And it can be daunting as a teacher, especially if you're not a Minecrafter, to say, well, how do I integrate Minecraft into the game? So Lesson Crafter is a really great tool. And right? And and that's adult oriented. And one of the questions you asked about was about AI literacy, the previous question. And when we think about this AI journey, right? The journey is as an educator now, speaking with a teacher hat on, or a systems leader, right? Which is the very first thing you have to do is prepare your students for AI literacy. And what does that mean, right? It's about information literacy and understanding what AI is. Then you're teaching, so you're preparing students for AI. Second, then is teaching about AI. And that's where we have the majority of the work that we have done in Minecraft AI has been about teaching about it. We have some, for example, we have the investigators, which is a great map, which is teaching about information literacy. We have some other, I think anything in our CyberSafe collection is actually preparing you for AI. And that's a weird thing to think, because that's really, about digital citizenship. But yes, that actually does prepare you for a world of generative AI, right? Because you're learning about data and you're learning about privacy. Cloudcraft is a great getting ready for AI. So preparing students for AI is the first step before jumping right into AI literacy, and then teaching about it. And then after that, especially for educators, and if you're over 13, teaching, learning with AI, learning how to use the tools safely, using them so that you can, as an assistive tool, right? So that you can produce more or be tutored or think about, I like using it for outlines. I was terrible as a student. I would just start writing the essay right away. And then at the end of the essay, when I got to the conclusion, I was like, oh, that's what I was writing about. And my conclusion, and I had to start all over, because my conclusion was actually my introduction paragraph, because I finally figured it out as I was writing. But having an outline, kids, really works. And so I've been utilizing AI actually to help me. I use Copilot to help me outline, and it's very helpful. And so as part of that journey, right? So preparing students for it, teaching about it, and then utilizing AI. That's our approach, right, of an authentic AI journey.
Absolutely. And that's how people say that the basics need to be clear first. You should know about this stuff first before getting into how to use it and where to use it. So you need to know about it before you do that.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. So I have a fun question to ask you. Who has been your most influential teacher?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So there are formal teachers and informal teachers, right? So in the classroom, I had two. One was Mrs. Green, and she was the one who really introduced me to research. And she introduced me to not just loving reading, but researching and literary criticism. And it was going to the books, finding the books, going through, not just one or two sources, but 20 sources, and really digging down deep into understanding what an author was trying to say and the meaning of a story, and then connecting that with my own understanding. So she taught me research, and I was 15 at the time, and it influenced my entire life. My other one was my chemistry teacher, who Elizabeth Worley, who I think I totally drove her crazy. She used to make me sit, because I used to play with my hair when I would get nervous in class. And so she used to make me sit on my hands. And that was terrible, because I couldn't take notes. I thought that was so cruel, and I would get mad at her. But she taught me discipline. And she taught, and what she was really, and she would spend time with me after class, so that to reduce my anxiety and say, and to help me get confidence. And maybe that was an old way of teaching, of having me sit on my hands. And I would never particularly do that to a student, but with her, it was an opportunity for us to develop a relationship of trust. And I was taking organic chemistry at a very, very young age, because she, taught me that I could do it, right? Gave me good confidence. Non-formal teachers, well, my parents, certainly my grandparents, and your friends are great teachers too. And so my friends have been, I think it's very important. My old teacher used to tell me, hey, choose your friends carefully. And it's true, right? Having your network of people, Namya is, thank you for including me in your network, because I think we influence each other, especially now that we can have so many more friends globally, right? And we can help, choose and cultivate this network that we can all teach each other all the time. It used to be that you only had one or two teachers and you'd remember exactly who they were. And I think we all can, right? Think about the people that really influenced you in your past. And it was one or two people, because you had this moment that it was like, aha, my mind opened, right? And LinkedIn and the work that we do, Minecraft, has really broadened who can influence us in a positive way, and the relationships that we can build India to Miami to Redmond, Washington through a game that will influence each, it will certainly influence me and the decisions that I make regarding the product or the content that we ship. And it's been really wonderful to have all different kinds of teachers that are young students, teachers that are family, and then formal teachers that are dedicated to their profession.
Absolutely. And this is saying that you are the person, you are the people you surround yourself with. And if you have like-minded individuals, you can bloom into a better person. And I'd say my formal and informal teacher both is my mom, because she's an IT head at my school. And she's the one who actually motivated me into getting into Minecraft. We both discussed upon the idea of starting with it, and she, pushed me forward that, yeah, you should go with it. And I think I'd call her my biggest critic and my biggest appreciator. So if you have a person who can tell you where you're wrong and appreciate you in your best moments, I think that's what you need in life. That that you have a person who can let you know where you can improve yourself and push you forward and encourage you to, do well ahead. So I think forever, even though I've had amazing teachers at my school, no other teacher would be able to take her spot as a life mentor and as a professional mentor as well.
You are very fortunate, and I would love to meet her, because obviously she's had an incredible influence on you. And I mean, you have a podcast and a YouTube stream. I can't even imagine that. That's just fantastic how she's inspired you to be who you are. My mom is in the kitchen right next door to me. So, and I'm sure she is listening to this conversation. And I'm sure that after we hang up, I'm going to go out and she's going to give me the rundown and debrief me and talk about my responses, because moms never stops.
I mean, it's the same for me as well. Like after every podcast, my mom lets me know if there was something that I could have done better. And if it was, it'll be amazing. She'll be like, the podcast was so great. You did well.
Right. Yeah. And it has been really fun.
Yep, absolutely. And it's great to listen to that, of course.
It is. But I know she's listening to that. Now I know for a fact that I'm going to get the debrief is coming.
Same here.
She's going to ask me how I put my hair in a ponytail. I'm going to make Namia did too. So we're all good.
Yep, absolutely. True. So now on top of content and strategy, you've also built incredible communities. 400,000 plus students is no small feat. So what do you think is the secret to building such meaningful, sustainable education communities, especially around technology?
Oh, well, so Minecraft is, millions. I think it's much bigger than that. It's millions of students actually around the world. And our teacher community, which is on Facebook called Teachers Lounge, has, I think, almost 12,000 teachers. And certainly it's much bigger than that, in an informal space. And Minecraft is the community. That is, and I think the community leads Minecraft, really. It's not the other way around, right? It's the community of teachers that provide feedback, the community of teachers and educators, because it's a broader term, educator, right? That are coming up with different ways of implementing it inside of the classroom, that learn from their students when they implement it, what they could do better. And because as a teacher, it's a craft, right? It's an art and a craft. And so, and there's a science to teaching. And so you're always wanting to improve so that you have better outcomes for your students at the end of the day, right? Students who are engaged and students who are able to master the content, and students who go beyond. That's the real goal, right? Students who go beyond what you taught. That's that moment as an educator that you say, oh, okay, this is my purpose, right? We were talking earlier about Ikigai. So the community is leading us. They tell us what they want. They tell us what works. We have a teacher ambassador community. We have a student ambassador community as well, which is very, very powerful. And without community, there's no Minecraft. So providing opportunities like the Student Ambassador Program or Teachers Lounge or teacher ambassador programs inside of Minecraft those are the Minecraft education. That's the bedrock, right? I didn't mean to use that word, but there you go, bedrock. That's the bedrock of, no pun intended, of what we're always making and always listening to, and having your ear to the ground, and speaking with the community so that they can inform you constantly, and they will, which is great, right? And the great thing about Minecraft, right, Minecraft, the broader Minecraft or Minecraft education, is that the community is empowered to give that kind of feedback. So the secret is creating the platform, creating the channels for listening, and then taking action, right? That's the other thing, is that knowing your place is to listen to the community and give them voice, and ensuring that voice is helping lead the product and the content strategies, and when stuff doesn't work, responding to it. I go through the community forums every single day to, hey, this isn't working, and how come the agent is whatever, there's all different kinds of problems that can occur, and then responding really quickly, testing really quickly, fixing as quickly as you can. That's on the problem side. And then in the forums or in calls, or reviewing Blue Sky or Twitter or LinkedIn, when people have ideas and saying, hey, that is a really good idea, let's put that on the backlog, and testing it out. So it's really understanding that the community is the heart and soul of Minecraft, and you have to be and you want to be a part of that community as well, right?
Absolutely. Like, it's giving them the voice, choice, and agency, and you're listening to them, and then of course you're implementing that as well. It's not just that it's there, but it's about listening and valuing their opinions. And of course, it's truly remarkable. Like, I loved how you emphasized on real power of Minecraft education lies in its teacher and student community. So it's not just about delivering the content, it's about creating spaces where improvisation, collaboration, and support is constantly flowing. And you've made it clear that the community leads Minecraft, not the other way around, where student and teacher ambassadors are at the heart of this ecosystem. You're nurturing a culture where learners, go beyond what's taught in the classroom, and they delve into deep learning. So it's not just about the content in the 400 pages of the book, but it's beyond that. So the kind of feedback loop where ideas are shared, tested, and grown is what makes the community stronger, but also meaningful as well. So it's totally sustainable. And it's amazing like how technology can connect people in such authentic and empowering ways through games.
I love what you just said right now about the culture of it, the culture of community, and the culture of Minecraft, and how it is, especially Minecraft education, right, which is what I can speak to, around, having empowered students and having empowered teachers. And at the very beginning of our conversation, you focused on building an empowered community and a positive community, and you asked me about the student at the center, right? And these are really connected ideas, that at the center of this community is the student. Minecraft education community is the student, and how, as educators, our goal is a student and a learner who thrives, not just in our classroom, but in life. If I could go back and talk to my 10th grade geometry teacher and say, I know at the time you thought you had failed me, but I promise that at 19, it clicked. When I was 19 years old, I know when I was 13 or 14, it was a mess. But at 19, I remember the moment, and I actually do remember the moment where I thought, that's why that's the formula for a cone. Because I could see the cone inside the cylinder, and I had never been, right? I couldn't do that before. And so, that as a teacher, you may not get, as an educator, you may not get that immediate satisfaction of knowing that the student has learned at that moment. Hopefully you do. Hopefully you see it in exams. Hopefully you see it in grades. Hopefully you see it in that moment. Maybe you're using Minecraft where the student learns in front of you. Oftentimes you don't, right? And you just have to remain committed to that, and knowing that there are other skills as well, durable skills, they're calling them now, or 21st century skills, that you're also imbuing them with, or at least providing them the platform and opportunity to develop those kinds of skills. And so, right, like you said, like you talked about confidence, and you've talked about curiosity and persistence and grit, all of those things that actually exist inside of the game, or in the learning experiences that we've developed, or maybe the teacher creates them. And the community, because this is really a community question, the community, I will say this, just like in the classroom, a student teaches the teacher. Often teachers are, we're always students, right? At the end of the day, and our students teach us. We learn so much from our students, and when we learn from them, we take feedback from them as students, and then we change our lesson plans, right? And if there are teachers listening, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You had a lesson at the beginning of the day, you taught it several times, and the lesson at the end of the day is pretty different from what you had in your mind in the morning. Yeah. Because it evolved based on what the feedback you got from students, right? And yep. Right, that's your kind of mini community. Same idea with Minecraft, right? We're getting this feedback constantly. It's a permanent classroom, and our goals are the same: a thriving community that's telling us how to get better and what to do.
Absolutely. You mentioned about maths. Like, I remember talking with my maths teacher. So she is like, usually I think about, why students don't like maths when they are, coming into grade 11 after 10th, because it's easier till 10th. Like, that's a maths, that's cakewalk. But when you transition to 11th, it's literally the opposite, because I felt it myself. And I'm like, I think that if you're inculcating those skills, so you have to make it interesting from them since the early ages, be it class 3 onwards. Because if you start it like probably in 10th and they already have it annotation in mind that I'm just going to study for getting into colleges, that won't help to learn the skills. Because I personally felt it like, if you see there's a page of 20 formulas that you need to know for changing normals, increasing, decreasing. But if I have been learning through games, through AI, through different tech tools, and it's easier for me to learn that way, I think that's what would help. Because it's always not about, just coming in the class and writing it on the board, but getting them involved in, even if it's a subject like maths, you have to find good strategies. So it's not just a mindset of getting passing marks, but getting them into that mindset that, yes, I can learn, it's going to help me in the future. It's not just about why trigonometry, where will I use it? But then, of course, to know how I can use it and where, like, turning a why not, turning it into a why not from what if.
I love that. I'm gonna use that. That's really good. Absolutely, exactly. What if?
Absolutely, that's amazing. I think it's been a great conversation today. I'm enjoying it, talking about Minecraft. Of course, like, I think I can talk in hours and hours about Minecraft with anybody. It's amazing.
You're an incredible leader, Namia. You really opened the eyes, I think. Convincing young learners to use Minecraft, well, that's not a hard thing to do, right? In terms of utilizing it in schools, but it's really speaking to educators and parents and leaders about how this can inspire the young learners that we're all focused on. That's the friction point. That's the harder part, and you're doing an incredible job illuminating this for educators around the world about why they should try it. And really all you've got to do is just try, open it up, and just use a different pedagogical framework, especially as we start seeing more and more that being immersed in something is where how you learn. It sparks a curiosity to want to dive deep into something, and that's that. So you're doing an incredible service by building the community, which is obviously what you're doing. To what if we tried this? What would happen if? And that's all you need, is to like that spark.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. So, I mean, looking ahead, what do you think is, your boldest dream for the future of education, and how do you think young change makers like me can contribute to it?
Well, for me, the boldest thing that really is central to my vision, especially as education systems are evolving to the needs of students to help them, again, thrive in their futures. And this is, you said bold, so I'm going to say it, right? I would love a future, and I don't think it's super far away, where you can actually get credit, like academic credit, for what you learn and play inside of Minecraft. I'll just leave it like that. Get credit.
I mean, that should be a dream come
Yeah.
true if it happens.
So think about that, right? Now, so we're seeing it. And so for those who say, what on earth is she talking about? What does that mean? If you have an apprenticeship, right, where students are, they leave the formal classroom, they're working alongside, let's say, an electrician, right, as an apprentice, and they're learning alongside, they're immersed in the job, they're working, they're not in a formal classroom, they get credit for that apprenticeship, right? At the end, they get a certificate, and there's a demonstrated knowledge. I'm sure there's some kind of exam, right? And they get their journeyman's license, and they get credit for doing. We have had centuries of learning on the job, right? And getting credit for it. Mm-hmm. And so the bold dream is to have immersive experiences, in my case, through play, where you get that same credit. In other words, that because we know when you are playing inside of Minecraft, that you are learning these durable skills, right, around confidence, or around critical thinking, around problem solving, around innovation. Those are skills that are highly in demand, right, when connected with technological skills or STEM skills that you get inside of the game. So let's give credit to those experiences. Absolutely. That's the bold vision, right? And that's going to demand big changes inside of what education systems look for, and how they're built, and how they provide some sort of a semblance of an understanding globally of what that credit or that degree means. But I think Minecraft Education and the platform can be that space. And I would love to add, Laylah, who used to have her 25 cents and spent hours of her life, playing different games to get good, that informed my ability to be incredibly persistent. And I'm a highly driven, very focused person that started playing with game playing. And if I could have gotten credit for that, what a different, maybe my journey would have been even faster. So that's the dream, a dream that the future of education is truly, truly student-centered, learner-focused, inspired all the time for you to be curious. And I think that can be done through games. And I think if you can get credit for gaming and credit for learning in Minecraft, just for playing in the game, that would be incredible for students. It would open up so many more pathways.
I know. I think one of the pathway to that could be, talking about vocational learning. Yeah. I think that could be a pathway to go to that. But I think if this thing happens, it'll be a treat for all the students, and they would love to learn and love to know how they can, use those skills that they are getting and the credits in the future to carve a path for their benefit and for the people around them who they can, help a lot.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
And for parents who are listening, I had an experience with my own. I have 3 children, and I had my own experiences with them around gaming. I have had my moments where I have said, you're always gaming. Come on, like, when are you going to study, and etc. Right? And I had a moment where one of actually 2 of them said, well, why don't you come over here and take a look at what we're doing? Because I talked a lot and probably yelled a few times, but I didn't see. I didn't actually go walk over. This is, by the way, pre-Minecraft. I walked over to the screen, and I did not realize that they were playing an extremely complex game with teams from people from around the world that they were leading. And they had like this Excel spreadsheet with all of the different probabilities and statistics of the types of players they needed on their team. I mean, it was incredibly complex. And the minute that I stood back and said, wow, this is, what my concept of gaming totally changed. But more importantly, the value that I had for what they were doing, they recognized that I respected what they were doing in the game. And it totally changed the conversation that we were having around gaming. Whereas like I used to say, you're just wasting your brain and I work so hard, how come you're not studying? That was me. I was that mom, right? And it was very extremely negative. Those moments changed our relationships, how I valued game-based learning, because I saw it. So I encourage educators and I encourage parents, go to the actual screen. Have the learner, have your kid show you and explain to you what they're doing. Value it, respect it, and it's gonna open your world to how they are open, and encourage that. Because when students feel encouraged in their own learning, that agency that we talked about, they're not just words. Like, go live it, you'll see it. Because there's nothing like changing that extremely negative conversation into something that says, I'm going to support you. I'm going to support you through this, so that it connects to also what, because parents have hopes and dreams, and teachers have hopes and dreams for their kids. And so how can we connect these together? I've lived it on a personal N=1 level, and I've seen it at an N=300 million. It works.
Absolutely. Sometimes it's just that one instance that you need to change your perspective, and that goes along with you forever. I've personally experienced this too, because I think I've had a few parents and teachers who are parents ask me that why, like, okay, it's going to help them learn, but what about them getting distracted? I'm like, why don't you give it a try yourself? I'm sure that will change your opinion totally.
Exactly.
Because you see how your child and how the students that you're teaching are able to learn. Because if they are getting a chance to explore in their own way, I'm sure they'll be able to focus more, and you will be able to understand their notion of learning, and you'll enjoy alongside.
Yeah, the words that you use are exactly right, which is how to go from distracted to focused, right? And one is, they may not be distracted, they may be actually really focused. You just have to go look. But two, if they are distracted, and that does happen, especially in if you're a teacher and you've got like 30 devices or going on at the same time, and you're trying to, reach a goal, a specific, educational goal or standard that you want to hit, or an objective in that classroom period, you're going to have to change how you teach, right? It's going to force your pedagogy to even be more focused on the student. And there are different kinds of frameworks for this kind of teaching. I encourage educators to go check those out. But you're right? Like, from distracted to focus, and sometimes it's like hyper focused, really focused. Right? Yeah, I'm sure you've been there. I've been there too. I'm hyper focused. I'm going to get this challenge. But that's, right? Like, I don't ever remember being hyper focused on my math problem textbook. Like, I was just like, I was looking for reasons to not be focused. And things are different now. When you have one of these around you all the time, they can be very distracting. They can be. And there's tools for, like, we know, right? It's just on a personal level. If I want to be focused, I either turn this off, I put it away. And studies have shown, when this thing is not in the room with you, you will focus and you'll finish it. Well, that's just a practice, right? That you learn to focus. It's the same thing in the classroom. Use the tool in the right way to achieve the goal, right? And then you go from distraction to focus. It's the same thing. These are it's a pedagogy. And
I really love the way you put it out. Thank you.
Yeah.
Amazing. We've had a great discussion today. And before we end today's discussion, I would love to know where the audience can find you online, and what one message would you leave them with today?
The audience can find me on LinkedIn. And so it's just like my name is spelled. So go ahead and find me on LinkedIn. I communicate there. I do have a Blue Sky account, but I don't really check on that much. I've limited my social media, because of distraction, frankly. So I focus it mostly on LinkedIn, and I also in the Teachers Lounge on Facebook. I'm often there communicating with our community. You know what, Namia? I never thought until right now about the words communication and community. I'm going to have to go look that up. And connected, but which is probably, I'm confessing something that's probably obvious to the world, but not to me. But in any case, so there in those two spaces mostly, and certainly, that on LinkedIn, I'm very, very responsive, and certainly on Teachers Lounge, I encourage educators to join Teachers Lounge. You can be a parent, by the way, and join Teachers Lounge as well, and certainly LinkedIn. And something to leave with is keep exploring, keep crafting. Just keep. That shouldn't be a hard thing to do, right? Just go and be curious, have hopes, have dreams, and have those things lead you. How fun is life when your dreams lead you?
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. And once again, Ms. Laylah, thank you so much for sharing your journey, your wisdom, and your vision with all of us today. Like from shaping experiences for over 300 million learners to building thriving communities through gaming and esports, your story, I'm sure, is a powerful reminder of what's possible when innovation is able to meet purpose in education. What really stood out to me was a belief in the learner first approach and your passion for AI literacy, and the way you see technology not as a replacement but as an enabler for deeper, safer, and more joyful learning. And you've shown us that education doesn't have to be confined to just textbooks or traditional spaces. It can be more playful, immersive, and truly global. So thank you so much for your time today. It was a delight talking to you.
It was a pleasure talking to you. You are a hero to me and what you are doing, and I'm going to be following you to see where you go. It's been a delight, and thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for joining and listening to this episode. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, each one, teach 10. Have a nice day.
Peace.
Peace.